Live from Toronto to the world.
Josh!
This is Josh Holiday Live. Talk that rocks.
The public needs to be informed.
Josh might surprise us.
Got an opinion? Dial 647-6YO-JOSH.
When you hear him, you're like, what?
Josh Holiday Live starts now.
Yes, it is Friday afternoon, the 23rd of June. Unintentional rhyme. It's officially summer. We're now hurtling towards the darkest day of the year. Now that we've had the longest, lightest day of the year, it only gets worse from here. That's the thing about the it's weird that the longest days in June, and July and August are essentially like the great months. You would think that June would be like the tent pole, the middle of where everything is great and warm, but it's kind of just the start of it. Like all of the good stuff, like the really summer warmth is on in July and August, and you would think that solstice, like the longest day, would be kind of a tent pole. It would start getting really, really, really nice and warmer, and then slowly, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Quick bit of information. I poked on Twitter like very briefly before the show began, and it's aflame with, oh my God, Jeremy Renner's dead. He died in an escalator accident in California. It's spreading like wildfire online, and I just want to say that no, that is not correct. That is false news, not real. If you've heard that or read that, it is entirely false.
Urban legend.
It happens. It seems to happen every couple times a year.
Celebrity deaths, you could easily float that. I mean, that kind of stuff. There's constant garbage posts on Facebook in a lot of groups. It's just like, so sorry about this person. Nothing's going on with that person. And
I think there was a dummied up news report that I saw, like a Photoshop kind of thing with a fake escalator stuff. Anyway, not true.
It'll be the ruin of us.
So did you were you watching the real life drama of the submarine that went missing?
Oh, well, I mean, there was nothing to watch. There's like the story, and then you go, oh, okay, that probably didn't work out, and then you just wait. I mean, there's nothing to watch. You just check Drudge occasionally and get an update.
Well, it's basically everyone speculating until we actually know for real what happened.
Once I saw that the sub was designed to right itself and then float in any electrical emergency and then have a beacon for rescue, and then they just totally lost contact all at once, and they lost everything. And then, it was imploded.
I was out as soon as I saw an old interview with the guy who made the submarine and created the submarine, and it was basically went to the hardware store and picked up some obscure parts. And then there's another story about an engineer who used to work on the sub who quit in protest because they were using glass or plexiglass or whatever, the window that was rated only to a certain depth, but the missions were meant to go 2 or 3 times that depth. So
all that kind of stuff, all that we'll just cut corners and make it up later when we're making money.
Whatever
that fantasy was, unless this was some elaborate self-immolation, but I don't think so.
No,
self-implosion.
Well, these people paid $250,000.
No.
And if you saw pictures of it, it's basically like you're sitting cross-legged for 8 hours in what,
that too,
like a minivan, basically.
Man, it looked. I mean, did you see the video of him showing off the controls and flipping around the video game controller?
Yeah,
it was asinine. I mean, it's so flippant an action. Literally, he's literally just throwing it around. We got 5 of these. Everything. The name of this thing, it goes down over the Titanic. Once again, man's hubris and capital's desire to be number one at whatever level. This man's own, insane vision that we can cut corners. The market can fix it. The thing for going down to the bottom of the ocean hasn't been figured out. No, it has. It's been professionalized. They know exactly what they need to go to that depth. period, paragraph. And if you don't have it and you got no certification, that should be illegal.
Yeah.
Apparently, because people are willing to go do it.
They should have called James Cameron. It's
I just saw him interviewed.
Yeah.
He was interviewed on ABC, and it was so clear that this is a totally professionalized
garbage
field.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think deep sea, ocean, and space are pretty much the same thing. When you get out there, there's not much you can do.
I'm a billionaire. I got capital. I'll get a bank loan to start this company. No, you'll go to college and learn the engineering.
Yeah, and slowly get investors and build it slowly and try.
Or you will hire engineers and gain certifications in a marketplace. That's what a marketplace is. A marketplace is you got to be at this level to of regulatory certification.
Well, now
for safety.
Now
it's like building code.
The aftermath now, I guess, is they obviously signed away a lot of their rights to sue, but I think with gross negligence, I think I was reading somewhere that you can still sue because it's just
the main man. He suffered the same fate. So the consequences already been out.
Did you see that crazy son of the I don't think it was the guy who created the sub son, but the son of one of the people on the sub. As the submarine was missing, he went and posted, in a Blink 182 concert while his father was still missing, and then maybe that's okay. You kind of have to keep your mind off of it. And then he got kind of trolled for that, and then the next day, while this person was while his parent was still missing, he replied to some like one of those online OnlyFans type girls who was like, like you do this, and he said something along the lines of, I'd sit on that, or it's like, dude.
So how do we have his OnlyFans communications?
She was on Twitter, and she posted something, and he replied directly to it. And then I think he also posted something about, hey ladies, I'm single, trying to take advantage of the fact that
he's just LIVIN, man, just like his old man.
I guess
he's got to keep going. So it's tragic, and then there's apparently a missing boat of 600 people off the coast of Greece that nobody's really looking for.
Yeah,
they're not doing the whole full court press to go get those people.
Yeah, I saw that contrasted this week, where it's like 6 really wealthy white folks in a sub versus hundreds of migrants who aren't white.
Capitalists afloat on the high seas no more as the Titanic goes down. I mean, it's like,
I guess the only thing that is the mystery of it, and the fact that it's around the Titanic, and the fact that it's like such a weird, stupid story compared
to Astos feared dead. I mean, it's one of those.
Yeah.
And we're just over here on the land going like, have you heard anything? Have they heard anything from the depths?
Yeah.
From the murky depths that man has written about since time immemorial as being a place of grave danger.
There was those hints like, they heard a banging or they heard something. And then,
did you see that the Navy heard the bang?
That came out, a little bit after the fact. The Navy's like, a couple of days ago we heard it implode. Yeah,
we heard an implosion. It's like, hey, there's a crushed Coke can down at the bottom of the ocean now. Go get.
Yeah, I was watching on YouTube, and there was I don't know how they did it, but it was like one of those train cars that normally would carry like petroleum or gasoline, and they did an experiment in a yard where I guess they put some kind of pressure in it, and it just like when it imploded. And then I saw it with a Coke can. But I think that the best thing about it, I think, is the fact that they would be unaware that it even happened before they were dead.
Oh yeah, I think that there was instantaneous.
Yeah, someone was saying it takes it takes a certain amount of time for the pain to go from the thing to the brain, and the amount of time it would take to crush them was half of that. So
I mean, it's just it's incredibly powerful because you've gone to that great depth, and this thing is just now at its limit.
Yeah. It's just boom. Good time. So I would, if there was a contest for the ugliest feet, I would enter. I have like really, really ugly feet. So much so that
feet. Then
you have pretty feet.
Yeah, I said you have radio feet.
Oh, radio feet. Yeah, feet for radio.
And shoes. Actually, I think most people do. I think most people need to have most dudes, especially, need to keep their shoes on.
Okay, because
sandals. The fact that sandals came in and has made a play for public space, I disagree with that.
I know. You know what? I'm going to disagree. I had a pair of Birkenstocks, and they were just so damn comfortable and in the warm weather, just super cozy. But now, I thought I had nail fungus, but then when I was at the doctor, he says, it's just like thick nails. But now one of them is all like bluish, and then one's really thick because I lost it. But it's not just the nails.
Gross.
Then I also have like
radio.
I have
960.
Other bone protrusions and like it's just my feet are a mess.
Tell us about it.
My feet are a mess. So I'm embarrassed to go and get like a pedicure. Sometimes I would go with it, if I had a female friend who was going, I would just tag along.
I've never had a pedicure.
What?
But people like them.
Not a manicure feels for a guy to like. What are they going to do? Like just
maintain the thing myself, whatever.
But okay, so I don't, because I'm embarrassed. Like I remember going one time, and I could tell the disdain in this older Asian gentleman's face as he looked at my feet.
Oh, you detected his disdain over your feet.
Yeah, he kind of looked like he didn't even want to look at them.
Oh wait, he was next to you.
No, he was working on the feet. He was like doing the work, but
the foot repair.
I felt bad, and so now I don't go. I don't wear open toe sandals. I do have some closed toe ones I wear sometimes.
Yeah, I try to get those. I guess I have some Tevas or something if I've got to get out on a wet and scenario. But whatever. I mean, I'm not here. I don't know. I feel like you do what you can in this world. You need to tan your feet, whatever. You can put your best foot forward, and then you just move on.
I'm notoriously clumsy, and that goes for working on my feet. Like I have also like my toenails kind of get ingrown sometimes, so I have to like dig in there.
Yeah, dig in.
Okay, so years ago, I got one of those things for how you get those bunions, the big like thick calluses.
But okay, you got
not bunions, but
now.
Calluses.
And
I thought, I'll do this at home, and I got one of those like sandpapery things.
On the stone, yeah, okay.
And then my girlfriend at the time said, and it was all dusty, and then it was bleeding, and she said, you're actually supposed to use water with that. You're supposed to do that
for them
with water. And then so this time around, I was like, oh God, this is thick. Like this is a big thick chunk on my toe. And I remember at the pedicure place, they have what you could assume if you weren't in a pedicure place was just like a fancy cheese grater. Like it's a stick with a cheese.
Yeah. They get out there and they go to work with some big tools and try to fix it.
Ordered that cheese grater thing from Amazon, so I wouldn't have to put my feet in front of someone else. And then I start doing it, and right away my big toe is like bleeding all over the place. It's bleeding all over the top.
Now you're bleeding on the listeners. The listeners are listening to you.
Yeah. Bleed. So what's conserve my clumsiness and ineptness can serve as a lesson for anyone who might think, hey, that's pretty easy to do.
Yeah, they're sitting by the fire listening to us.
I see the guy, the big radio, the standing.
Listen to Grandpa talk about how he cleans his feet and spiffs them up for public consumption.
I am going to Calgary next week.
Oh, congratulations!
You're in for people who may not otherwise know.
I live in the States.
You're in the States. You're in the great state of New Jersey, somewhere in the middle of it, in the woods. You're a woodman.
Yeah.
Calgary is kind of like the Texas of Canada.
Sure, oil economy.
It's oil economy, but it's also has a greater number of people who are right-wing people. Like
sure,
like it's and they just elected someone.
It's like a Western province. You know, it's got a western. It's still western.
It is
correct.
But if you go further, if you go all the way west to the British Columbia, then you get kind of the late. I guess like California too. But
I like it in Vancouver. I could live there.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you're going to Calgary,
and they just elected like the equivalent of the U.S. governor. We have premiers. We have a really god awful one here in Ontario, just a corrupt piece of crap. But in Alberta, where Calgary is located, they elected like a anti-vaccine lady, a lady who believes
go for it, lady. Do what you do.
Conspiracy
Attack
theories,
the institutions, whatever.
Yeah, and there's So I even bought a shirt, like a T-shirt I ordered, so I can wear it in Calgary that says pro science, pro black, pro trans, pro thing, and it has all the pros on it.
Oh, I see. This is going to be a very fun trip for you.
Well, it just so angers
every
me.
day and count the number of interactions you have, and then you'll have established the mean that you've witnessed for however many decades, and then you'll have this day in this shirt.
Well, I did that in Florida. I would wear anti-Trump stuff at a mall near my mother's, and there were people giving me dirty looks. And then I thought, maybe this is dangerous. They're going to get me in the parking lot.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're more likely to encounter a motivated temper in Florida than you are in Calgary. But that's just I don't know.
Yeah, less guns, which is okay.
True. I feel like Canada has an equivalent. I feel like Canada has a kind of a civilized gun culture, whereas America's like the Wild West.
Well, I mean, it's mostly
hunting and sporting, but it's not like an identity.
When people don't really we don't have access just to hey, I'm going to go buy a handgun. I can't do that. It's all sort of heavily licensed and mostly for hunting and
perfect.
Yeah,
that's what you want.
Ideally, yeah. Although if you're in Alberta, they're fighting against that. I'm going to visit my sister. She texted me yesterday. She's because I when I travel, I'm a researcher. I love to research. And she says, "Oh yeah, we're going to Vancouver in September to go see Coldplay. Where do you look for hotels and stuff?" And then I had to go through my complicated process. Well, I look for reviews on TripAdvisor. Wow. In the high ones, but then you have to be careful because there's a lot of fake reviews, and it's just a whole mess of things. Are you a researcher? When you purchase stuff, when you buy stuff, are you a heavy researcher?
I mean, if I have to spend some fair amount of money, yeah.
I'm a researcher, even if it's like a $30 item. I'm like, well, of that $30 item, I gotta find the best version of that.
Yeah, you can invest time in that. Yeah, I mean, I try to avoid garbage at $30, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'll read reviews on hotels and restaurants. Obviously, I mean,
but it's hard now because even on Amazon, there's
first world problem though. But really,
so many fake reviews, and
now in Amazon, the other problem is just half-built stuff that's just a seller and
you have to be very careful and look who's actually selling it. I ordered a television remote, like $100 television remote. Turns out the place was in New York, and then as I got it, and it was it just didn't work with my TV. It wasn't functional. And then I look at their return policy, and it's like, oh, you have to return it to us using registered whatever, and the price to send it back was almost the same price as the remote, so it's just stupid.
Yeah, good luck.
But apparently 1 in 5 shoppers say they're too lazy to hunt around for the best deals. They just go ahead and pick the first thing that
1 in 5, so that means everybody's doing it, and then one guy's like, yeah, I don't know.
I look for
4 out of 5 are doing it.
I'm not just a price-based guy, but I do definitely do deep research and look at.
This is a Consumer Reports world that we live in, friend.
Well, remember when it used word of mouth was just that? It was word of mouth. You really didn't know about a contractor.
The market was way smaller, and then your access to categorized knowledge on that topic was just local.
Yeah. You would hear oh yeah, this roofing guy screwed up my roof, or oh, this guy's really good.
Well, yeah, sure. There's that level, but then also even with I'm a Ford man or whatever it would have been.
Yeah. But people, now the average Joe has a voice. He can be like, "Oh, I bought this lemon of a car. It's stinky. Don't buy it."
You know, there's guys with channel and women do it. There's everybody doing it. You know, you look at the channels on YouTube, and it's like people just reviewing different products. That's its own genre of, you know, semi-professional comment.
Well, I remember looking. We were looking for a car for my mother, and there were tons of like just random dudes who.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you could spend many hours sifting through car reviews these days.
Yeah, for sure. Sadly, the morons are winning, and we will have 2 examples of the morons winning in just a sec.
You all know that thing you use to send text. It works for actual mouth talking.
Josh stuff, more Josh stuff, more Josh stuff.
Get in on the conversation. Punch 647-6YO-JOSH to be heard. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.
Yes, live. You know the theme. Hockey night in Canada. The morons are winning. If you're a moron or a sensible person, you can give us a call.
Why would we highlight this then?
Well, because we have to draw attention to the fact that the morons are winning.
Our losses, take the L.
Take the L, yeah. So, two items in the morons are winning. If you want to call, moron or not, 647-696-5674. 647-696-JOSH. First up, that was the theme from you wouldn't know that because it's a Canadian theme that's iconic for Hockey Night in Canada.
Yeah, I know nothing of this music.
No. Well, and that was like a band version of the actual theme too. So it's a 2 degrees of separation thing. The NHL has announced that they will no longer have players wear specialized jerseys in the pregame skate. So it used to be they'd have
sidestepping the old controversies of our time.
Yeah, instead of progressing forward and facing it head on and not worrying what the Neanderthals
well, they were looking
think.
at individual player revolts that didn't need to continue.
Yeah. So, but what it means is it's not just Pride Night jerseys. It also means there's Hockey Fights Cancer. There's all kinds of jerseys that were worn by players, and oftentimes the jerseys were auctioned off to make money for whatever the cause was. They're still going to have nights like at the arenas, and like they'll still have a Pride Night, but because of a few homophobic players and a lot of homophobic fans.
Wow, Josh!
I went on I saw an article on the Athletic where they were calling the NHL to task about this decision, and went into the comments section, and what a rude awakening! Like how many hateful, homophobic Neanderthal people they are. And on that site, you use your first name and the initial of your last name. So essentially, it's anonymous, and you realize you're amongst a lot of people who have very hateful views.
There's something about the way the male identity is structured in this time where there's a lot of fragility around sexuality of other people.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like we're stuck with it until that works itself out, like locally in every place that's still, because the smaller the place, the more people seem to hold to,
so-called traditional values.
The older, structures. But it's like a big city has I think there's an Adam Smith, in a major city, you can make a living as a doorman, but not in a small town or even in a small city. There's all kinds of things out there in this world, and if you don't go visit, then I guess you're just stuck in whatever you came with.
One of the comments I saw was, "Well, if they're going to have Pride nights, why not a Christian night?" Like,
yeah,
wait,
were
you born Christian? Was your brain born Christian? Like,
Like identity is becoming like identity politics kind of was inevitable.
But it's really like this last like 2 year even and even a few months, it's like amped up like really hot.
Right. Because that's happening around the world though.
Yeah.
This not Canada and the United States, it's not exclusive. This, there's like these kind of populist sort of backlashes happening in different places simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because, hey, the 1% ran away with $47 trillion in net worth, according to the Federal Reserve. So that's just in my country.
That's just in the U.S.
There's that story's been being told over and over and over again all around the world in all markets everywhere.
Yeah, well, and certainly the circumstances are worse for gay people in certain countries that are North America.
Certainly, yes,
way worse.
But at the same time, I think that the mass understanding that was carried forward by like media professionals, people like us, was one thing. And then once the Vox Populi got access to cell phones and broadcasting, it was like, well, hey, no, man, we don't like this. It makes us uncomfortable.
Yeah, them gays are going to turn our children gay.
Well, I guess it's possible.
Yeah, it's.
It's whatever you show up on Earth with, and then plus the experiences you get to have in this world. And does anybody turn anybody gay? There's such a spectrum. Why can't people be in the middle?
Yeah.
What percentage of people really just buy and don't know it?
Yeah. Idiots. Okay, so that's one that the homophobic morons.
You gonna cover the NBA draft?
No, what happened there?
You don't like the NBA as much as I do.
The only thing I saw is
Toronto. We can talk about Toronto took a chance on a draft pick. They drafted.
What's his name though? It's a good name, and I saw a picture of him in this like.
They drafted Dick.
They drafted Dick. What's his first name?
Kansas basketball player Grady Dick was the 13th overall selection.
I saw a picture of him, white guy. He was wearing this like red sequined suit and glasses. He looks like a character, and he has a funny last name.
Now the Mavericks had the 10th pick, and I wanted the Mavericks to take Dick.
Oh. So because
I just thought that would be a good fit.
You were dick blocked by the Raptors.
The Mavericks traded out of the 10th to do some other things, and they made some good moves. But still, I wanted the Mavericks to take Dick. What can I say?
No, and they didn't.
I'm like that.
Raptors got Dick. This is kind of pathetic, but there's a weatherman, a meteorologist, not just a weatherman, but a guy who actually has meteorologist credentials, which there's a lot of people who do weather.
There's a difference. Sometimes there's just a weatherman.
Yeah, this guy's
woman.
This guy is like certified. Like he actually knows
sometimes
his
there's
stuff.
a meteorologist.
Yeah. So this guy, realist, he knows the science. He knows the weather. He's studied it. His name is Chris Gloninger. He's won an Emmy for his environmental reporting, and this week he decided that he was going to hang up his I don't know what it is that you hang up, the little clicker thing that changes the weather behind you. He got a death threat stemming from his climate coverage, resulting in PTSD. In addition to the death threat on Twitter, there's been a flow of harassing emails from the same person, and he says, the threat, of course, was concerning, but the stream of harassing emails is even more distressing. It means he's thinking about it constantly, he's angry about it, and he's filled with hate. He said that, Gloster said it's mentally exhausting, and there's been a lot of times where he's...
Okay, my question is this person actually supporting a different weatherman in town?
No, I think this is just like one of those lunatics who's
just a one-off that's like, I just despise this particular weatherman.
It's not just the weatherman. It's the fact that he's talking in realistic ways about how climate change is real. And so this right-wing nut... Yeah,
his politics have sullied the weather. That's when I was concerned when Fox started their own weather channel. You see that?
No.
Fox has developing a concept of its own. They're going to politicize the last thing you can even talk about at Thanksgiving dinner is the weather. They're going to politicize that.
Yeah,
Fox weather says it's going to rain. Google weather says no rain.
I can understand like just the disagreeing on if it's going to rain or not, but there's now we're
the Fox Weather Channel wouldn't have to burden the sky with the lesson that climate change is happening because these things are happening, and look how this is different than it used to be.
Yeah.
And wow, it's way drier here, and they can't just grow crops like they used to be able to based on the rain.
This area used to be fertile. Now it's arid. This area used to be a paradise of sunshine 360 days a year.
That's another little nugget of identity politics. But I think actually people, especially people who work the land, are absolutely converted to the idea. Well, I think the silent amount of the sort of that is out there.
Well, it's, at some point, if it affects you,
undeniable.
If it affects you differently, if it actually like affects you personally.
Let me tell you, here's a fun fact from last week that we didn't cover. The heat index on Friday in Corpus Christi, Texas, was the top color, silver. It was 125 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's brutal. I know even in Arizona, I have friends who live in Tucson, and in some parts of the summer they can't land and take off flights. The flights are grounded because it's too hot for the tires, and
we're talking. It feels like it's 51 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, that's.
It sounds. That's the reason I don't. Being a Texan, triple digit weather. Okay, now we're talking. That's where Fahrenheit is the better system, hands down. Because to say that it's 100.
No, okay. Well, this is the thing. I agree with you because I'm of a generation where when metric was introduced when I was really young.
You remember a Fahrenheit Canada.
Well, mostly it's like when we go on vacation, and for warm weather, I was really aware of. Like hot is 100. 100 is like, wow, it's a good like benchmark for hot is 100 degrees.
Oh, sure.
So now I'm kind of a hybrid. So when it's warm, I'm kind of like, oh, it's going to be 90, 80, 90. But then when it's cold, I think 0 is a better benchmark for that. So I use the metric system for cold. Oh, 0, it's freezing. 5 below is you have the benchmark of metric is cold is a good benchmark. Fahrenheit hot is a good benchmark.
That's interesting. The more northern country in the Western world is Canada, and frankly, the dominant season is winter. Where I live, the dominant season is summer.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's true.
So you would prefer the 0 scale.
The problem is
the Hundy scale.
The problem is in that mushy middle when it's not really cold and not really hot. It's like
my thing with Celsius is the degrees are so much larger that. It becomes, you think, oh, that's only a few degrees. Well, that's a lot, actually. In your world, that's like 10.
Yeah, that's right. There's the difference between 90 and 95 isn't that huge, but then, yeah, when you break it down to Celsius, yeah. Talking about the weather. We talked about manufactured meat last week and whether you liked it or not. Now it's actually like it's gone to the next step. It's come to fruition. Cultured chicken is what they call it. Chicken grown in labs has been approved by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They're calling this a historical milestone in the food industry. Product had already been approved by the FDA in 2022, and essentially they're approving the sale of chicken grown in labs from cells rather than the old-fashioned way of chopping that chicken's head off and cutting it up.
Well, no, of feeding the chicken and growing it up.
Okay, yeah, that's
to then get turned into a poultry product, sir.
So this is in California, and cultured meat is the preferred term that they like to use. It's produced. This is where it gets kind of hard to.
A Mitri dish, right? A Mitri dish.
Not a Mitri.
Mitri dish of meat. Come on.
Produced in steel tanks. They are still considered real meat, not vegan, vegetarian, or
steel tank meat.
And they did a survey.
It was really just like it would look like a cow carcass, except it just expands like a pork roll, like a roll.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, this is chicken. So it's, and it would be like probably the shapeless blob. And
it's just gyro. It's just gyro that comes out.
Yeah. Half of Americans say they would try it. And then obviously the other half felt they think it's too over the top. I think it's too over the top.
Thing is, if they're fooling people with it and it tastes the same, how can you? I mean, the issues people have with chicken a lot of times now is the factory farming, where the chicken ends up looking like a crazy genetic freak.
Yeah.
So much engineered to be giant, and
the
then
HGH
doesn't walk, and then eats a garbage diet, and then it's like people's cholesterol is going up from the food. Well, is it the food or is it this other process where we've industrialized an animal?
So would you eat chicken grown in a lab?
I think I would, especially if they could control like that factor.
I imagine they would go for like it would be a matter of like choosing
be like the good nature fed chicken.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a chicken eater. Like I don't eat like I'm not a beef guy or pork. The only real meat I eat is chicken.
So you don't eat pork either, all right?
No. Now I like the idea of this, but again, sometimes my brain works in a funny way where with fish, I would love to eat fish, but my brain associates the smell of fish with fish. And I don't like, I think my brain would have trouble kind of with me eating this, whatever this was. I would think, oh my God, this is like labby stuff. But
did you ever make beer can chicken on the grill? People do that sometimes.
No, I've heard about it though.
Yeah, this is like steel can chicken, except it just grows in the can.
The can is on the inside. Yeah,
it's just a different process.
I would like it if someone didn't tell me, and I would be oblivious to it.
Perfect. Yeah,
like the placebo.
But the menu will say, or our delicious lab grown piccata.
Yeah, just surprise me. So the way, though, it's kind of you get into the science of it. The cultured meat is formed in large sheets. Upside Foods cuts and forms the product into shapes like cutlets and sausages. They say they'll be able to produce about 50,000 pounds of meat per year, with a goal of expanding to almost a half a million pounds.
They got to cut it in a circle so that we'll eat it, and it looks like the little cutlet we are so used to.
The other company, they form their sheets into cutlets and nuggets and shreds.
Chicken shred.
And here's a fact for you. The current chicken industry produces 50 billion pounds of chicken per year.
Delicious chicken.
That's a lot of chicken. Do you get pizza delivery out where you are? Is it like, or you just have like
I don't bother with that. I just go get the pizza. I've never opted for delivery. You have to wait too long and it's unpredictable. I'll just go pick it up, put it in the trunk, bring it home.
Even in the city?
Even when I lived in a city, I would go because it wouldn't be very far. I'd just go get it.
I guess. There's something to be said. Like, it's a classic thing to get your pizza delivered.
I mean, that's an aesthetic.
Yeah, I guess.
It's also, they used to have it to where the carryout would be a couple bucks cheaper, so I would do that.
That makes sense. And I think that's still the case because you always have to pay for delivery and tip and stuff, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's convenient. Domino's, they're always trying to like come up with gimmicks, I guess, to play on their deliverableness. That's not a word, but
right.
So now they're saying they can deliver you a pizza without even an address. They're launching anywhere delivery through the app, and basically you just drop a pin on the map. And they come to you, which essentially
you win.
I think that was
There's
already
be practical joke like pizza deliveries to places, and just be like, you win, enjoy the pizza. You can fly pizza in to feed local people in your city who are hungry. Fly them in a drone army of pizza delivery. It's so good.
Well, okay, so this they'll deliver wherever. So I know sometimes people order pizzas.
Just solve hunger, dude. Except only the people that can afford it will get drone food drops.
Not drone. It's just they'll drive it to wherever.
I was wonderful. I was in another alternate reality.
Oh, you thought it was like in the wilderness in the mountain.
Drop a pin and here comes the drone.
No, this is just driving. So if you're at the park or you're at somewhere,
still a dude.
But it's pretty much just. I think they're just catching up because Uber would deliver stuff wherever you dropped a pin anyway. So it's not.
Domino's in some cities does have a little robot.
Well, they also.
Have you seen that?
No. Oh, the little box thing that drives around?
It drives around, delivers pizzas.
I don't know how many neighborhoods you could get away with like having pizza driving around without someone just grabbing it.
I don't know. It's a good question because I feel like self-driving technology is still not working that well. But
yeah.
But I have been at a Walmart where they've got the automated floor cleaning happening, and it just goes along, and I've not been crushed yet. So so far so good.
That's a plus. They used to, when I was working at CBC, like a public broadcaster, for a long, long time, they had this mail robot that was like the size of I don't know, like a couple of humans, 3 humans, and it would go. I guess there was a magnetic strip under the carpet or something, but it would drive around, and then people labeled it and. Yeah, but they finally got rid of it. I don't know why. Domino's is doing a promotion for the Glastonbury Music Festival that's happening this week. And this thing, they're delivering pizza, I guess because people camp and stuff. They're delivering pizza via a guy in a jet suit.
That's closer to what I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's sort of along the lines. But I feel...
paid that off.
Because the jet suit is about $500,000, so this feels more like... Hey, let's spend
it better be in 30 minutes because the jet suit has limited range.
Yeah, and they have the custom boxes, but they're writing off.
He's busy flying. Really, it should be in front on a tray that he carries, and then you just pick it up, and he just gives you a quick wink, and he's off again like Santa.
See you later,
Pizza Santa.
There you go. Do you want to know what the secrets to eternal youth might be?
Who wouldn't?
Apparently, it's death. I'll tell you about that in a sec.
Something bugging you? Need to vent?
Where the is Josh?
This is your unfiltered megaphone.
When you hear him, you're like, what?
Dial 647-6-YO-JOSH now to be heard. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday, live.
Yeah, winding down another live episode of Josh Holiday Live, Friday afternoon. You can call us anytime you like if you've heard something that you want to chitter chatter about. 647-6-YO-JOSH is the telephone number. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can call that number. This is something that seems creepy.
Great.
There's a new product. It's called Renuva, and it's an injectable, kind of like the Botox or the fillers that people use. The only difference is that rather than using a customer's own fat to add volume in their face, this is made of human cadaver tissue.
Cadaver fat.
Yeah. So they take a cadaver and they make it into some kind of jelly thing and they inject it into your face.
Yeah, man, it's cadaver fat. Just get a little bit of that old cadaver.
One customer said, I see it as equivalent to a medical transplant.
Sure.
I more and more I'll see people sometimes on the dating app, sometimes on TV, sometimes in real life and it's getting younger and younger. You see like women who are like haven't even hit 20 that are plumping up their lips or putting Botox in and it baffles me like that. And I it's obviously a much deeper issue, cultural issue where there's expectations.
We're now witnessing a world that was socialized inside of the crazy hall of mirrors that is like an Instagram life or a TikTok life or whatever. And then these people are way into fashion. These people look like this. And I'm an influencer now. Oh, I got some pictures on here. Well, I'll get this Botox injection. I'll do this. So image has become so powerful, even more so than when it was just television and magazines.
Yeah.
Now it's movies. It's just
influencer.
It's with you all the time. I was at a concert the other night. I looked down and it's like, oh, look at all the people on their supercomputers. All their supercomputers are lit up in the palm of their hand.
Well, that's a pet peeve at concerts is where people, rather than just having the experience, they're watching the experience through a small screen on their phone.
They're recording it so they can keep it forever. I'm like, I would just bother to remember it.
Yeah, remember it. And sometimes they'll be doing
Why do I need to increase? Now there was one time where I was so appreciated one woman's devotion in my Facebook feed. She goes to concerts where the people I don't want to go to. And so but I want to see them 20 years ago when they could still sing. So like she's posting it and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that one sounds bad. That one sounds bad. Great. I don't have to go.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times, you'll see it even when they're filming a concert film or whatever. They'll rather than the people in the audience watching and knowing that they're going to be able to watch a version of it that's in 4K HD, they're getting it on their little phone. And I think part of it is like, oh, look where I was. I was at this concert. You weren't here.
That's what the whole world is, dude.
Yeah, I think. I don't even think it's a generational thing. I think it's just a personal thing. But I would much rather just experience things than take all kinds of pictures. Like I went to Costa Rica and there were so many beautiful things I saw, and so many cool. And
I would take pictures of things that were in another country that I couldn't gain access to regularly.
Oh yeah, no,
I guess that's the same thing with music, and we're just we have different tastes.
I did a little bit, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, who's this picture for? It's not like I could take pictures.
I mean, you'd show people the slides after, have folks over and have some drinks, and here's the slides for my vacation. Here's a place you've never been. And here's us doing fun things in another country. That was considered viable entertainment. Not anymore.
That's something that maybe a couple generations of people would have no awareness of, where people would have little parties after they went on vacation, and
parties on your phone, and you just scroll through. Oh, they're on vacation, and here it is.
Yeah, it's presented to you.
So is that the end of the story about cadaver fat being injected into the face?
Pretty much. I saw there's one reality type show I saw, and there was a lady who was in her 40s, and she had the injectables and like the giant lips. But then the sad part was she had teenage daughters who were maybe 16 or 17, and they had like the lip things, and you could tell, like, when they were trying to make expressions, they had no like
so they
creases.
Botox their forehead, and their lips had been plumped.
As teenagers.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, it's accessible with money, and so, mommy, come on, mommy.
But it doesn't, like, I
want the lips like this person on the, or they just have their own money to just go do it. I mean, I feel like the practitioner wouldn't be able to do it without the parent. But the parent says, like, yeah, be an influencer.
It doesn't look good, though. Like it's
a career. No, of course not. Most plastic surgery doesn't look good.
This is true.
A lot of reconstructions that they do for people in crisis, they look great.
Yeah. Like a bear. If you get attacked by a bear, go get some plastic surgery.
There's some things that, okay, you're going to have a nose job. You're just going to have them knock the bump off. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, subtle.
But they're going to change the structure down here. Who knows how that's going to turn out? That person's got to be an artist at that point.
Yeah. And then we can start talking about vajuvenation, but we don't have time. We ran right out of time, so we can't talk about vajuvenation.
Turn on the lights, open the shades.
The show's over, but the conversation continues. On Twitter at Josh Holiday, on the web at joshholidaylive.com, and hear missed episodes on your favorite podcatcher. Talk that rocks. Josh Holiday Live.